Guess we're 3 minutes after the hour. We're giving folks time to trickle in, but I guess we can get things started. So, hello everyone. Welcome. We're going to give, as I mentioned, people a few minutes or so to join. In the meantime, we're going to launch a poll so that we can get to know you a little bit better. The poll question for today is, what is or was your biggest fear regarding implementing a private community platform like Hivebrite? Was it the learning curve, the time it took, losing members, missing the opportunity to provide a great environment, or some other factor? While you fill out that poll question there, we're going to share a bit more information about who's in our audience today. So we're joined today by people from more than 10 countries. So we have an international crowd today. Phenomenal. We love that. We have people from a variety of jobs and roles, including founders, CEOs, community managers, marketing managers, and 2 professors. All right. So it looks like we just got the poll results. And we'll take a look to see what our audience's biggest fear is. So let me see what the poll is saying. All right. So from the percentages here, it says that it's the learning curve. So the learning curve is the learning curve, which is interesting, and I guess Guy will hop into that and we'll cover that more in our conversation today.
Absolutely.
But thank you all for filling out the poll and being with us here today. And of course, thank you to our guest speaker, Guy Timberlake. Before we start, please be aware that you can ask questions throughout the webinar in the Q&A box. Please bring those questions our way. Happy to answer them live. We'll do our best to answer them at the end of the session, but if we're unable to, we'll follow up in an email after the webinar is completed. So Guy, you'll help out with some of those questions.
Absolutely.
Well. All right. So with that said, let's get started. I'm Al Choute, implementation specialist here at Hivebrite, and I'm joined today by the chief executive visionary and co-founder of GovCon Club, Mr. Guy Timberlake, AKA, also known as Go-To Guy Timberlake. Welcome, Guy. How you doing today?
Al, thanks very much. It's always good to see you. And I'm excited, man. We've been practicing, and building up for this. And it's exciting to finally be here. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun to share good information. And I'll tell you, help people find out how much they can alleviate that learning curve.
No, fantastic. And I see in the chat here, Margaret has said hi to both of us. Hey, Margaret, how you doing? And quick icebreaker question before we jump into the nitty gritty and get serious here today. So the name Go-To Guy, is that trademarked?
So it is locally, but actually, no, it's funny. I never thought about formally doing it, but it is a name I've had for such a long time that I'd forgotten about it. And somebody actually brought it up again. And so it's Go-To Guy is back. So it actually started back in the 90s, with my Air Force and Navy customers. And that was just the tag that stuck.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, because I'm sure the folks have seen the LinkedIn promotion. And when you go to your LinkedIn, you see the TM next to Go-To Guy. So I had questions about that. But once again, thank you for joining us. And let's
absolutely
jump into the first official question of the day, which I'm sure a lot of folks that are joining us are, wondering, what's the mission of your community and who does it serve? So your Hivebrite community, tell us a little bit more about the mission and who does it serve?
Absolutely. So the GovCon Club is a membership organization for folks in the public sector, specifically government contracting. It's actually a follow-on organization to one that my wife and I started back in 2004. A lot of folks that knew us then knew us as the American Small Business Coalition. And we existed and operated that way for a number of years. The GovCon Club is kind of the the newer, smarter, I'll say more slick, and definitely more technology advanced version of the ASPC. And obviously the reason we selected Hivebrite as a solution is because we saw a lot of the great possibilities to create a community that was very, very affable to the folks, to be able to connect, to get information, and really just be able to use great tools to take advantage of the resources.
No, fantastic. And with the the visual that we have up on the screen here, we can see all of the tabs that you have in there. And for those that aren't familiar with the Hivebrite product, we're looking at a screenshot of the events module and our people directory. So I guess my next question is, how are you managing your community before Hivebrite? How did you manage those events, your memberships that you have in Hivebrite, the people with the people directory? How are you doing that?
So, again, if we go all the way back to 2004, we started with some of the most fundamental tools you could use. That was even before we found that there was this culture of organizations that created, these membership communities and these association websites, things of that nature. So, Al, you and I have talked before. I literally think if we pulled a list of all of the companies that anyone has ever heard of that does this kind of a program, we've probably touched them all at one point or another. And probably just prior to meeting you and the Hivebrite team, we actually went through a couple other solutions that looked really, really good on paper and on screen. And then unfortunately, once we got into it, they weren't really able to deliver. So we had a couple false starts that slowed down our progress, but we were able to actually jump with Hivebrite and kind of make up for lost time.
Right. So you'd say it was a long list of platforms that you used before Hivebrite. Right?
Absolutely. I mean, literally, if anyone in the audience has ever done a search for association membership programs or community membership programs, and you just see the list of Google results, just starting at the top and going all the way down, we've literally touched them. So we probably in, 17, 18 years have used a dozen platforms. And like I said, literally just prior to coming to Hivebrite, we went through 3. We probably reviewed about 20.
Oh, wow. Yeah. And I know that you're using some in tandem with Hivebrite. You're one of the first partners of ours that I had known to be on Clubhouse, which at the time when you're starting with us, Clubhouse was the rage. You were on there before it was like a rage, and I wasn't even on Clubhouse when you were using it. So how many platforms are you using in tandem to sort of facilitate what you're doing?
So from a complementary standpoint, I mean, we are a Microsoft 365 organization. So we use 365 internally to manage communications, production, for our team. From a social media standpoint, you can find GovCon Club on, LinkedIn pervasively. We have probably 7 or 8 profiles out there, including our company profiles and showcase profiles. We're also on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and then Clubhouse being one of the newer ones. And yeah, Clubhouse, I mean, a lot of folks might remember, last year there was this whole scuttle about Elon Musk going on to some social media app and breaking the internet. And that was the Clubhouse app. It was crazy. And Clubhouse has become one of the latest ones that we've used just to expand the audience, and it's worked well for us.
Yeah. And you alluded to it earlier, but wanted to hone in on this for those that are listening. But what was, once again, that one triggering factor that said Hivebrite is it, and I have to go to Hivebrite?
So it's funny. So the methodology that Margaret and I used to look at organizations previously and even leading up to Hivebrite was based on our view or vision of the organization from initially years ago or to months ago. And so we bypassed Hivebrite several times. Even in the recent searches, because what we envisioned as the approach we were going to take didn't seem to fit into the model that we saw about Hivebrite. There was nothing negative we saw about Hivebrite or anything else. It just didn't seem to fit. And what it actually took, I think, was a combination of our maturing the organization internally, maturing our approach to how we delivered to our clients, and then being able to now look more objectively at different solutions. And that's all literally after those those two experiences out that you know all about. We just said, okay, this ain't working. We came back, really took a deep, hard look at Hivebrite, really dug in, spoke to the sales team and really said, okay, wait, this actually is the direction we need to go in. That will fit where we are now as we started morphing the organization. And then, quite honestly, there were some elements that we saw in Hivebrite that helped us and forced us to improve some things that we were doing.
No, fantastic, and thanks for sharing that. And you and I have collaborated on getting the community up and running, and you launched a community in an impressive 2 weeks. So we're talking getting your events module set up, the branding, membership where you're charging folks to come into the platform, having all of that put together and rolled out to bring people on in a span of 2 weeks, which is phenomenal. Could you share with the folks, how are you able to launch your platform so quickly?
Yeah, the secret weapon that we use to make that happen is Albert Choute. It's right here, folks. You're looking at him. And I'm being serious when I say that because, this is a partnership and it always is, but not all organizations on both sides necessarily view it that way. So Al didn't work for us. He worked with us. And that's been our experience with Hivebrite all the way through. And so what I will say is we were probably more focused on a specific outcome when we engage with Hivebrite than we have ever been before with any other solution. So I think that was a big part of it. We knew where we wanted to go. What we needed was a platform that could help us get it there. And we believed in our heart of hearts that Hivebrite was that platform. When we started working with you, Al, and again, I've done this with you over and over. I love seeing you blush. All right. I mean, but it's true though. I mean, it is, between you and Margaret and I, we had such a great rapport. And I tell everyone this, the thing that you did the best was not just that you listened, you actually heard us. And that was key because you were able to take some of, our maniacal, wishes and convert them into an addressable approach, translated into here's how Hivebrite can help you do that. And that was what was key. So we were able to get here because one, we really didn't know where we wanted to go, but we just had the absolute most magnificent translator that helped us take our vision and put it into the Hivebrite platform and activate it.
Yeah, and thank you for the praise. I can't take all of the credit, and as you mentioned, it was a collaborative team effort. And one of the things that I can say about our collaboration and getting your platform up and running was that you came in with a team, you came in with a plan, and whatever you threw my way, hey, I want to do this, and I was like, oh, we have this tool here that will help you do that, and then we worked on it and we got it done. So it was
Right.
just you all just coming in with the team, the plan, and me just filling in the gaps with what you wanted to do, and then it just, I guess it, you know, it gelled really well. And I don't think that I've had a lot of, you know, those experiences with folks where it's that seamless. And I think for anyone that, you know, listening and keying in on this topic, I think one of the things that is important during this process is, you know, planning, having a team, and with the old saying, if you fail to plan, then you're planning to fail. So it's all about that planning, which you all did a great job of doing that.
Yeah, and thank you. And I'll say this again. It's, you know, we go back to the poll for a second, you know, where, excuse me, a lot of folks, you know, indicated that their biggest fear was tied to the learning curve. And so there really is not the learning curve that I think a lot of us, you know, have heard about in a lot of things. You know, the fear is generally just the unknown. It's the stuff that we don't know is what can slow us down and cause us to make mistakes. And so when you've got a partnership where you know what you know and you've got someone else that knows what they know, then putting those together, and again, listening and hearing is key. Communication, it's the key to so many challenges, you know, that we see in the world today. But in this case, for us, the communication was literally flawless. And I don't think I've ever experienced that.
Yeah. So I guess you know, we're both aligned on that part. Well, thank you for sharing.
Absolutely.
Well, you know, your community is made up of a diverse group of individuals. How did you design and structure your platform to ensure that you know, value is provided to all of your members?
So let me clear my camera real quick. Not sure why I got it. There we go. Out of focus. Um, so we do have a diverse community, and our members are in large part individuals and organizations who have products and services that they make available to federal agencies. So that means small companies, innovation companies, services companies, product companies, manufacturers. I mean, they're literally all over the map. We also have folks from government in our membership as well. These are program managers, contracting officers, other officials who are here to collaborate, share information. And so the common theme that binds them all is seeking positive outcomes for requirements. If an agency needs a more effective communications plan to get information out about COVID, for example, there are companies here who do, you know, marketing, crisis communications, and they collaborate. But also, there's education, there's training, and then the most important is there's community. And so we've really kind of stacked a lot of different approaches into what we do. So that's the part that we do, you know, with or without Hivebrite. We would do it anyway. Hivebrite gave us the ability to do it, I'll say, even easier for a lot of these activities.
Yeah, no, fantastic there. Well, you know, earlier on you had mentioned that you use various platforms over the years, so many platforms, and you know, your user base went along that journey with you from platform to platform, and now you're here with us at Hivebrite. How did you ensure that these folks came along this journey with you to Hivebrite, where this is a, you know, it's a paid platform. It's different than, you know, a social platform where entry, there is no, you know, barrier to entry. They already are using that social platform. So how did you ensure that these members migrated to this private paid platform?
So truthfully, we begged them. No, so they were already with us in a membership relationship. So they were paying a fee, you know, annual dues to participate in the community. So I think everyone was already, you know, more or less preconditioned to that. So the biggest challenge for us was more than anything, okay, guys, this time it's for real. This time we've actually got the solution. This time it's going to work. Because again, those two false starts really, you know, I don't know if it was more internal that Maggie and I really were like, oh, this is just horrible.
Mhm.
If they all left right now, I wouldn't blame them.
Yeah.
So we managed to survive that piece. And then once we got into, this platform and they just started to see, the information come up, the features got presented. Hey, here's how you use this. If you push this button, this is going to go take you there. And it's a work in progress. We're still doing things, we're still rolling out features. We have not turned on everything. That was one of the things I think we talked about early on. There were some features that we just left off. We said, okay, that'll be part of the 90-day plan. That'll be part of the 180-day plan. And that gives us an opportunity to, kind of work on a lot of the other infrastructure activities too.
Yeah, no, and that's always a strategy that we throw to our partners, is that Hivebrite does a whole lot of things, and sometimes there's that eagerness there to turn on everything, but it's good to hold your cards and use maybe our projects feature when it's needed, or our job board when that is needed. So yeah, you have a lot of tools in your tool belt down the road to
Right.
use, which gets me to my next question, which is how do you keep these folks engaged? So you mentioned you have Hivebrite tools later on that you can utilize, but how do you continuously keep people coming into the platform for years to come?
So it's a combination of approaches, some that we've just rolled out recently.
Mhm.
So, and again, Al, we've been talking about this stuff for a long time. You were on the early stage of some of the ideas that we said, okay, we think we can do this here, but let's just kind of put that on the sidebar for now and wait till later. So, sorry. So make sure that's still on.
Yep.
But so one of the big things is having the activity here, having the content, which is critical. If there's no content, if there's no purpose for someone to go to a particular site, they're not going to go. And so the engagement starts with just content, whether it's a office hours activity or a educational training webinar or video, other member get-togethers, things like that. We're now starting to add in some external activities so we can actually utilize some of the map features, on the site tied to not just members, but where events are going to take place. But the one big one that we started doing is we actually had other organizations who saw what we were doing. We had relationships with them, and they said, well, can you build us a community like that too? And I said, well, I can refer you to Hivebrite. And they said, well, no, we don't need an entire, we just want the government contracting piece. And so we looked around, we kind of studied the features, the groups, which are phenomenal, because they are full featured. Everything you can do in the main site, you've got that same capability in the groups. So you're not losing anything, and you can make them private, or restricted or whatever. So we came up with creating a chapter program where someone else could come in and buy a chapter with us. And what it does is it gives them their own presence centered around government contracting on our site. But all of their members also have benefits that the rest of our members enjoy too. So it grows the community, but it still gives them their own identity on here. So that's one of the things we're doing right now. We're actually very surprised at how this idea has caught on. We're talking to a couple of very large national dealership organizations, some OEMs, original equipment manufacturers in the government space, and actually some local chambers of commerce who wanted to create this because a lot of organizations that are not traditional to our industry have members and clients who are attached to it. So we came up with a way to give them kind of a member perk, as it were, that was tangible.
So this was a new revenue stream that just came from folks coming to you saying, hey, we love this platform.
Yes.
And so now you have, which you said it yourself, our groups module is literally a micro community within your actual community. You have your own live feed within the group, your own events. You can make someone an admin of it, news,
Yep.
etc. So these individuals are paying you to use a subset of your already community in which you're paying Hivebrite. Not to throw that out there. So
No,
it's
no, no,
literally
no, but
paying
that's
itself.
exactly right.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so yes, because look, it's not a secret. Hivebrite is a business. You guys aren't giving this away.
Mhm.
We're a business. We're not giving it away either. And
Yeah.
so we developed a model that complemented what we already do, that allowed someone else to take advantage of what we are known for, which
Right.
is community and education and training in the government sector, and create a way for them for, when you start talking about, the cost of acquiring customers, acquisition cost, retention cost, it's far less for them to take this approach than it is to go do it on their own in some cases. And that's even for very large organizations who's, if we said any of the names, everyone's going to know them, but
Yeah.
they can't do this for the cost or with the efficiency that we can. And so that's, it created, you're right, a literal non-dues
Yeah.
revenue stream force that we had never even thought about before.
No, that's fantastic. And yes, we talked about getting the community up and running in 2 weeks, but now, it's already built. So they have a subset where they don't need to worry about sort of, building something from scratch. It's like, hey, here's your
Right.
area within the platform. Here are your members within this area. Have at it. Yeah.
Yeah, I
That's
mean, we literally call it a club within a club, a membership community in a box. I mean, literally, the minute you open the box, there's content, there's community, there's infrastructure. We'll train, there are people to be admins on the page, and just we go with it.
Oh, fantastic. I love that. And, I hope we get, several questions about that, because I don't think that I've seen a lot of communities or partners that I've worked with do what you said you've done there with the groups, which is, huge. It's phenomenal. So with that, that was an unexpected, I guess, revenue stream that kind of unfolded. And you've been with us now for about 7 months or so now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it unfolded over the last, 7 months. You weren't forecasting this at the start of the year.
No.
But how do you define and measure success for your community and your members? So what are the metrics that you look at?
So, I mean, there's a lot. I mean, we have folks here who have been doing this as long as I have. Some of our founding members were actually founding members of the organization we started in 2004. So the success for us is measured mostly by them. And so is it meeting more people like-minded? Is it seeing more information that helps them make better decisions to grow their business, to do M&A? Is it training? We just literally got done yesterday doing one of our boot camp programs. It's a intense 2-day. I kind of go nuts into like Marine Corps drill instructor mode. And we have people locked in a room with us virtually now, and just pounding them with, information that is fundamental to this business. But, all of those things, when somebody leaves an activity like that and just says, I feel like I can now go do more than I could before I sat in this class, or that webinar we sat in for 30 minutes the other day opened my eyes to things that I had no idea were possible. It's the same thing that we've experienced working with Hivebrite. Again, the reason Next Chapter came around, we didn't realize some of the abilities and capabilities that we would have. We just had never envisioned them for that use. And so for us, measuring success is highly tied to feedback. If somebody gets a contract win and they believe in any level that it was attributed to things, value they got from us, that's a success. If someone feels like they met someone that helped them, get further down the road. We have members, here's the big engagement piece, and measure. Our members are just as vested in the success of the program and other members' success as we are. So we have, lawyers and experts and, different areas who jump into the discussion forums before we even have a chance to see the question, and they're answering them based on their expertise. And people are like, wait, are they staff? No, they're a paying member just like you.
Mhm.
And so for us, when we see that activity, that engagement, that to us is success.
Yeah, no, that's the ideal community, that bottoms up approach where
Yes.
the administrators don't need to facilitate the conversation or the content. It's being driven by the users. So that's definitely a behavior we try to get a lot out of our active communities within Hivebrite. It's great that you are experiencing that on your end.
Yeah, it's I don't know when we learned it, Al, just so you know, because
Yeah.
neither Margaret or I came from the association world.
Mhm.
I was a federal contractor. She was from the HR world. So running an organization like this was not even the least bit intuitive. We're like, okay, how do we do this? And so imagine 2004, we didn't have a clue. The good news is in 2017, when we started spinning up GovCon Club, we already had that experience of what we had done before, successes, failures, the good, the bad, the ugly, all those things. So we were able to bring the best parts of that experience and the best of ourselves to what we're doing now. And where we're seeing the benefits of it. And I think that's also that experience is what helped us ultimately land with Hivebrite.
No, fantastic. And what as far as like the series of questions we've gone through, Guy, thank you for answering those.
Absolutely.
Before we jump into the live questions from our attendees today, is there any last things that you would want to say or convey to the folks out there about your community, or I guess your platform, your experiences, anything at all?
Well, what I would say is this, and I'll really kind of go back to that opening poll. We look at the breakdown of what people expressed as their fears and their concerns, and we literally have a program that we do on Clubhouse called
Mhm.
Federal Contracting Fear Factors, and it's
Yeah.
literally all about what scares you in federal contracting. So I would apply that logic here. Whatever it is that scares you about making this jump, there's a way for you to get the information you need to be able to validate or invalidate that fear. And so I would say if you have a relationship, with Hivebrite or a colleague or friend that uses Hivebrite, reach out and talk to them. If there's another solution you're looking at, it's really about relationships. So leverage your relationships to help you get the information that will help you alleviate those fears. For us, I, I'm sure there are things that scare me. I don't know what they are, quite honestly, because we've been able to overcome a lot. We're a small business. We are, business owners, and a married couple also, for, almost 20 years. So we've seen a lot, we've failed a lot, we've succeeded a lot. So the things that scared us 10 or 15 years ago don't scare us now. And what I'll say is when it comes to, again, things like the learning curve, if you're not averse to learning something new, then all you need to do is structure how you're going to do it. It's about planning. And Al said it, if you fail to plan, well, you plan to fail. And so if you're thoughtful about this, if you are responsible for a community of people, it's just like being an employer. Everything you do as a community leader, executive director, CEO is going to have an impact on somebody else down the line. And so your thought process really needs to be focused on how do I make decisions that provide the greatest value for me and everyone that relies on me in my organization. And I'll say that's honestly why we are with Hivebrite.
No, it's fantastic, and thank you for that, Guy. So I guess we'll tag team going through some of the questions from our attendees here today. So I'll start off with let's go with this one. How do you collect and incorporate your members' feedback? So the feedback that you're getting from your members, how do you collect that and implement that into your community?
I mean, so there's so many ways to do that, and that can be a Hivebrite specific thing if you're using the group features and some of the other features that are built into the tool, discussion forums, the groups. So we have a lot of groups on our site, and there are some that most of our members can't see if they're not part of a very specific group, like our Founders Council or the Executive Advisory Council. They can't see it. And that's fine because they don't need to, because what's going on there is we're having very specific conversations with groups of members. We have a membership meeting later today that we're going to facilitate, which is just all hands. Hey, here's what's going on. So whether you're using the features in Hivebrite or adding in a Microsoft form or a Google form or something like that, what I would say for us is we touch our members as much as we can without annoying them. And it might be a post, it might be an email, it might be a meetup, any of those things, but we are constantly looking for ways and ideas to do better. Not necessarily more, just better, because we do a lot and they tell us we do a lot. So we always refine the things that we're doing to increase the value of the outcomes.
No, fantastic. And the next question that we have is, and we have metrics around this particular question in Hivebrite, our engagement scoring, which tells you who are the most engaged users within the platform. But the question here is, how are you leveraging your community champions or super users in the platform?
And again, it's a lot of different ways. We're still really building up to being really good at doing that. Thankfully, the folks that would be super users in our organization are smarter than we are. So they just go out and do stuff and they get involved. One of our committee leaders, we have one committee that is focused on just talking about business opportunities. And she was part of our old organization, and she is very, very type A and she's not scared of me whatsoever. And so she finally just said, okay, you're taking too long. I'm just doing it. So she came up with the names of 2 new programs that we're running internally. And she said, I'm going to start doing a monthly meeting here and a quarterly meeting there. And we'll let you know what people are saying. And it's all about growth activities for these companies. So from the super user standpoint, I think right now for us, they take more initiative than we do. I think we still deal with a little bit of analysis paralysis where we may overthink things just a bit, trying to get it just right. And I'm working hard to just get to that MVP. Look, boom, get it out there now. So we're still working that. But the folks that have expressed interest in communicating, being those thought leaders in the organization, honestly, the best thing we do is we give them the space and give them a platform and just say, go.
Yeah. And you mentioned Michelle Bull there. One of the questions that came in was, how is the team behind your community structured with, yourself, Margaret,
and so the GovCon Club is technically 5 people. And so our friend Rick, who's on the West Coast, runs our leadership program, Leadership GovCon, which is really kind of an adjacent activity to the GovCon Club. So core team within GovCon Club is 4. Myself, Margaret, Michelle, and then Jason, who is like operations chief. He just runs a lot of stuff for us, gets things done. That's really it. A lot. We are augmented by the members who are vested in the organization. they step up and they take on leadership roles to help get things done. And I think that's you know, that's probably the biggest thing right now is they really just step up.
Fantastic. No, and they did during the implementation process. I was very
Absolutely.
impressed to how everyone had their task and their role, and it worked cohesively. So we have a question that goes back to the opening poll that we had in regarding missing the opportunity to provide a great environment. So was there ever a concern from your end that you were missing the opportunity to provide a great environment?
Oh yeah, I mean, look, FOMO is a real thing. All right, the fear of missing out never goes away, even when
Yeah.
you think you're in the right place. And so, once we started getting a chance to look at Hivebrite, and again, our problem was in previous iterations, we knew we were missing out, and so it was glaringly obvious. So we had to start looking for a better solution. We've gotten to Hivebrite, and I got to tell you, um, FOMO is not really a thing right now. When I look at how we used to do things previously, using a LinkedIn group here, and a Facebook group there. Look, here's the deal. All my information belongs to LinkedIn or Facebook.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I don't care what happens in that group. That's not the relationship we have with Hivebrite. And I can give people one place to go to be able to get that same and quite honestly a better experience. I don't want to get you guys beat up, by Microsoft, by talking bad about LinkedIn, but I've been on LinkedIn since 2004. So I am a legacy user of that engine, and it's a phenomenal tool. No questions asked. However, the difference between a group on LinkedIn and a group on Hivebrite is not even a comparison. It's like pitting a bicycle against a Formula One racer. I mean, it's not even close. And so, for that reason, I say there really is no fear of missing out. Yeah, there are things that we know are on the technology roadmap that Hivebrite is continuing to add, in features. My brain works in a weird way, and Al knows I'm always thinking of new stuff and ways to improve things. So I've gotten a chance to work with the team to be able to say, hey, look, where do I just park ideas for you guys? When we see things, and like right here. So we just send over ideas and they acknowledge it and they let us know if and when it's going to exist on the roadmap. We've already seen some things come to fruition that we would have asked for. I don't know if it was actually due to us or someone else, but we've already seen changes in the time we've been here. So again, I got to tell you, and I'm just being honest, I'm not getting paid to say this, folks. I'm just letting you know the fear of missing out is a lot less for me than what it was before I got to Hivebrite. And I'm talking about for me and our members. They're telling us how much they enjoy the environment, the robustness of the features, just the intuitiveness of what is there for them.
I'm getting paid to say this, so the fear of missing out. Yeah. I'm just kidding. All jokes aside, but yeah, I like the analogy that we're a Formula or race car driver versus the LinkedIn groups, which is a bicycle. So we're miles and miles ahead. Which I got to say that I agree with that. Our groups feature not being a homer here, our group's features is phenomenal. And what's indicative of that is how you're able to, as you mentioned, monetize that aspect of
Yep.
of our feature, which is great.
Absolutely. No, it's, and here's the thing. And, when you talk about, the level of engagement we have, one of the first things that my wife set as a goal was for us to elevate our engagement, with Hivebrite. And so we know that there are more things that we will be able to do when we elevate to the next level. And that will make the things that we've already started doing now work even better. So here's the part. They work great right now. We just know that when we get to the next level, there's even more so. So I will tell everyone, take the plunge, come in. If you've got a community out there right now and you are struggling to create engagement, stickiness for your members, you're looking for a way to really, have information distributed in a way that is progressive, that is productive. Um, I can tell you, because I've made all the other decisions before, there are a lot of other decisions that you can make that will be, worse than Hivebrite. And again, right now, everything we're seeing with Hivebrite, the abilities we have, we made the absolute right decision.
No, that's fantastic. Love to hear that. Definitely. And I guess the last question that we'll have for today and we'll take is that you mentioned the next level. What is next for GovCon Club? What is that next level as you look into year 2 with Hivebrite?
Well, and it's funny because we're so engaged right now and so head down, and the things we're doing right this second, we're putting things on the calendar, that we want to think about. But honestly, you know, we've set a goal about where we want the membership to be, and so right now we're aiming to be at roughly 2,000 members before the end of the calendar year. Year 2, I want to apply about a 5x factor to that, and get to 10,000 members. And we don't see that really being a problem because, again, the initial reception to next chapter, plus some other alliances we're forming right now, that's where we want to go from a growth standpoint. From a capability standpoint, we're going to continue to mature our approach and refine how we get information to our community so that it takes less effort for them to get what they need. We're looking at partnerships with, executive coaches and things like that we can weave into the organization and have that kind of a resource for our members who are seeking that kind of support. And so we're always thinking, we're always growing, we're always refining. So hopefully the year 2 version of this will look like, really just like we are, just more activity in a very much larger community.
Now that's fantastic, and that's exponential growth right there in year 2, 5x being the forecast. So hopefully, we can have you back on a later podcast next year in 2022, where we talk about that expansive growth that you've seen in your community.
Absolutely, would love to, because we're going to get there.
No, fantastic. Well, Guy, thanks again for sharing your insights and experiences with us. That's the I guess the finale there of our webinar. I'd like to also thank everyone that joined us today on this webinar. We'll be sharing the recording of this webinar by email. So if you have any questions, please hit reply on that email and let us know. A survey link has just been dropped in the chat, so we would really appreciate if you could take 1 minute of your time to give us your feedback on today's webinar, anything about the topics that were discussed, or anything about us. So let us know that any feedback that you have there. Thanks again, everyone, and goodbye. Once again, thank you, Guy, and have a great day, everyone.
Take care now.
All right. Bye now.